The very last day of Ramadan, and I'm eating a super fine steak. Don't worry, this is super well done, and it's super tough. I overcooked it, and it sucks. Don't get jealous, is my point. Anywho, this is a terrible start to the video. Let's get to my main point. Hey guys, welcome to Blessing Time number 9. This is an annual series where I talk about stuff. It's the definition for Blessing Time kind of changes every year, so it's not very definable, but I really do value the series of videos where I force myself to do something every year just to keep track of myself. And with that kind of mindset, I am going to talk about myself and how I've been doing this year and asking questions to myself like that. I got a lot to say, and I already forgot a lot about it. I'm high as fuck. I didn't do one of these last year. So that one was supposed to be the 8th on 2025, but I forgot to do it. And this one, I'm just going to pretend it happened and say this is going to be the 9th one. It's been 9 years since the first time that I did Blessing Time, and I believe that was back in 2017, apparently, according to the timeline. It originally, I guess no one really cares about the history of Blessing Time, but I'm gonna go through it anyways because I don't care. I know no one's probably gonna listen to this, so it's fine. And that was me drinking. And I don't think I've been uploading a lot of these videos onto this channel. And the whole point of this channel is that no one's supposed to see it, especially during a time in my life when I didn't have anyone to talk to. So I had YouTube and I wanted to put it out into the void. And that purpose has kind of waned away a little bit, but not really. I still have a lot of these thoughts that I can't talk to anyone else about. So I find it very comfortable for myself to be able to put them out there. Although eventually, if I ever do get a therapist, that's the first person that should know about all this kind of stuff that I'm putting out. And it's inherently kind of egotistical and selfish, but I've started to realize that I can't really think about anyone else except for myself for a long amount of time, because that's just kind of how my life has been. And I will kind of talk about that angst that I have while I'm going through the main Blessing Time portion of this video. As Blessing Time tradition goes, I used to have my Aqua figurine, but I didn't bring it to the Netherlands. That's where I am right now. And I also used to do it while reading the alquran, but I'll just do that in my own time because I think that's boring. And there's also tradition, at least back from 2024, is to eat a bunch of meat because I loved. I liked watching videos on YouTube about people eating meat with a lot of fat in it and marbling, because I thought that looked really sexy to eat, especially during Ramadan, where you're hungry the whole day and then you get to just be really gluttonous when it's time to break your fast. So that's how I increased my appetite, I suppose. This time I overcooked the meat. It was completely well done, and it tasted like super tough and terrible. I suck at cooking steaks, but luckily I just had to eat it for myself. And even sadly, there's too much meat, and I had to reheat it on the second day, so it wasn't even fresh this time around. But whatever. It is what it is. I'm starting to realize that I don't like meat. Like the thought of eating an animal, especially when it's not as processed, is kind of gross. Like, I actually just don't like even the taste of it. Sometimes I like it. Sometimes some meat is pretty good, but only when it's like in a burger and it's already processed and I can't identify that it was from an animal, weirdly, because eating like a raw steak feels like you're eating it straight out of the carcass or corpse of an animal. Anyways, one thing that I wanted to improve is my speaking and rambling and coherence ability to communicate. But I get the feeling that no matter how hard I try, or even how much sense I make, and trying to translate my thoughts into real speech or words, no one will actually care about the train of thought that I'm trying to follow. And it's another issue of just trying to have people listen to me. And that's why I also like being a woman, because I think women speak too much. They got like, first of all, I'm an egg. And secondly, that's an internet lingo that not everyone understands, but I'm an egg. In the trans community, it means something. But also, like, they do a whole, there's like this popular fable, The Boy Who Cried Wolf, kind of moral to it when it comes to women speaking. They speak too much, so when they try to speak something important, no one pays attention to them. It's a shame. Anyways, I think I have the same sort of issue, but also my experiences with other people differ so much, and I can't even define who I am either. Like, everyone is kind of, I can put everyone into a specific box, and they experience similar things to each other, and they're fans of specific things, and I kind of follow everything. I'm a jack of all trades kind of person. And that's why people can't really approach me or understand me too well. They don't know what I watch, and they're kind of always surprised, I suppose, on what I consume. And they inherently distrust me, I believe. And they don't know what kind of topics to talk about me with. And that's kind of a bit of the issues that I've been having recently. And it's gone more troublesome in trying to find a job as well, especially during interviews when you have to be kind of understandable and approachable and trustworthy to do the job. But I inherently exude an aura of untrustworthiness, which I can't help. Anyways, let's actually get into the main section, I suppose. That was the long ass preamble. I wanted this video to honestly only last like 10 minutes or so, but it's fine. I have a lot of things to do, which I am happy about, I guess, but also they aren't like, I always want to do the most important, best thing that I can do at any time that makes me happy, I guess, but I need to do some things before I get to do those things. And I've been holding off projects for such a while, and I have 4, and that's related to what I'm about to bring up. I have 4 questions that I want to ask myself. First is, what have I done the past year? Then what am I happy about? What am I sad about? And what should I do for the next year? So let's just go off with the first question. What have I done in the past year? Since, I guess, February 2025, I don't remember exactly what happened, but I believe I was fresh off the heels. Let's go, because I have multiple kind of aspects in my life. Let's do the work, and then the other aspect, which is also still work, but I would call it play and hobbies, because that's what I'm, I guess, doing. As an artist, I guess, work versus art. Anywho, on the work side, since February 2025, I've basically just been doing semester 6, because I did semester 6 once, I failed, and then I repeated it. So that's 12 months of the same semester. It was a pretty difficult semester. Well, not necessarily. Some people don't say it's difficult. All you have to do is yap, but it depends on the project that you get and your coach as well. But let's not get into the specifics. That's not too important. But I guess I mean, it's funny. A lot of people don't exactly enjoy semester. I'd rather talk about my feelings during it. And I think in general, most people don't really enjoy semester 6 too much. And I kind of wanted to put that into words about exactly why. And I think their main issue is that they have to yap too much. And I think if we do like a root cause analysis of it, it's because they are not given enough work, enough tasks to have any meaning or purpose in it. So when there is no meaning or purpose, they have to make it up. They have to yap about it, which I guess makes a lot of sense, because in the first semester, before I failed or repeated, I guess, I had to make up the reason. Like, it was very difficult to find out what our purpose actually was about. And even at the end, when we presented it in front of people, our assessors, they were like, what is this even about? What's the core thing that you're trying to solve? And it's like, there is the people that we were working with did not give us a proper problem to work on. And that's something that we struggled throughout the whole entire semester, and it was completely unstructured, and I don't know what we could have done to really solve it. Because I think it was the problem of the company and not us. And in the second semester, people also didn't enjoy it. We were unable to really satisfy our stakeholders, especially because I think the project leader was pretty incompetent. I am HO, but also our students in our group, my group, were unwilling to properly invest their time or put in any amount of effort to actually solving any of the problems. I'm continuing the project that I did from last semester, and I am putting in that effort and reading a lot of things that the people in my group in my last semester did not want to do. And the reason why is because it's a very custodian, janitor kind of work. Sort of. It's governance, which is more so about making sure everything runs correctly instead of making in a project a product that actually runs, that you're not creating anything. And people find creating things pretty sexy. Like, even in the business world, people understand why dashboards need to exist, and coding and making programs and game development and stuff like that. It is boring work, don't get me wrong, but at least you know what you're making. And stuff like governance and things that are kind of secondary toward that, to make sure that those things are running properly, is the boring sweeping up the remains to, or at least making sure that it all runs properly. You can't be too passionate about these kinds of things like risk management, because you're just everyone kind of understands that it's not too sexy, I guess. Anywho, that's what I'm doing right now since last year, is continuing the project that I had from last semester. And when it comes to personal projects on the play section or the art section or whatever, I think during February 2025, I was most likely working on the Subarishiki Hibi analysis video, which came out in July 2025, I believe. And before that, which is more than a year ago, was most likely releasing RGSO. Actually, I just realized that this is the first time that I'm actually mentioning my other project. I really hope no one is going to be able to make the link between those two things. I am just going to check very quickly when I uploaded that, because I get the feeling that was more than a year ago. So this is made, uploaded on October 27th, 2025. Oh, that's interesting. So that was actually late 2025. And the video was, I remember this being in like the beginning of this year, actually, December 30th. Okay, so I was working on my secondary, because I not only have a YouTube channel, I also upload things on DeviantArt and use a 3D studio to make art on there. You need to know what it is, because I feel like that would expose too much of myself. And I'd rather not risk it, I suppose. But point is, I think I have actually talked about it on this channel, but I don't really tell anyone what it is. The point is, I did work on a couple of other projects, specifically a very big comic and a animation, like 3-minute video, which is the first time that I really did a big animation project, and it made me really understand why movement is such an important part of animating. I should really rewatch Keep Your Hands Up, Isaac, and I think that would really change my mind about what animation is, because I think movement is beautiful, and people kind of take it for granted, but you really have to pay attention to it once you're really going to animate a human person, and pay attention to how they move their body. It's really, it's kind of its own, beautiful artsy kind of thing. But I've really only dipped my toes into it, and a lot of people said my animation looked very janky and off-putting and weird. So I guess I can only get better. But I'm also the type of artist who doesn't want to do the same thing twice. So I'll probably just make like a decent animation and then get on with something else. Or at least I've gotten enough experience to make a better animation, hopefully. But even when it comes to comics, I do like making those. But the setting and the characters are always completely different. I have a million billion ideas going through my head all the time, and that's probably going to come back in the what I'm going to do next year part, because I'll come up with some ideas when I answer that question. But yeah, I guess as a recap, I'm just doing more work, considering the project from last semester is pretty boring, and I can't even talk about it with other people very well because of how boring it is. And I've also been I've made a comic. I've uploaded a comic at least. Maybe I've been working on it for more than a year. And the Subahibi video and a short animation, and that's it. I could definitely do more if I applied myself properly. And I hope, like, every 3 months I always want to poop something out. Not poop, this terrible analogy, gross. I always want to make something and be in a project and create something big every 3 months. But with how busy my work life has been, I guess, and other social promises, they haven't been working too well for me to fulfill them. So I haven't really even started on a project yet, but again, I'll talk about that later. So what am I happy about right now? I guess the fact that I'm not as lonely as I was back in Indonesia. That's one good thing. I have great-ish roommates. I've been having a bit of drama with them, which I'll get into the sad portion, but I met a great talkative person, and I got really had a close relationship with him ish. I had long conversation with this person, but he's kind of like a devout religious Christian, which I really dislike, and that's why I've been moving away from him recently. But he's a nice very social, outgoing person, extroverted, and it's a type of person that I've never really met before. And another very chill dude who I played Lego Batman with. This is as close as I'm ever gonna get with my roommates, really. And of course my trusty old friend from Indonesia who we watch movies with even nowadays and go out some events every so often, so whatever. Um, I guess the other thing that I could talk about is that I've joined a bit of a visual novel club where I talk about, well, it's honestly more like a club for them because they all know each other very well and I'm kind of the newbie. But they talk about visual novels and play them throughout the month, and then they talk about it during the meeting. And I played a visual novel called Urban Myth Disillusion Center and Dead Lamb Walking. And then we talked about it, and then I was able to suggest a visual novel, and we got to vote on it. And this time around, we were playing two visual novels I'm very interested in, called Shizuku and Narcissu. And I should really finish that soon because the next meeting is next Tuesday. But point is, I was able to socialize more related to visual novels, which is pretty rare, especially back in Indonesia. And also, like, everyone speaks English, so that's really cool. I was able to find out about it through a friend from last semester. I also got this is something that I'm happy about. I got some very close friends in the past 2 semesters. They're both, really big weebs, and they're probably more invested into it than I am, but they're both super cool people that I wish were longtime friends, but I don't get to see them too often. And sadly, they're both really into music and really into anime. And I loved them so much that I wanted to write like a gay fanfic. Not necessarily about him and me specifically, but it inspired me to make a boys love fanfiction one day, which I haven't wrote yet, because I keep thinking about, that person's characteristics and how chill and easygoing and how great it is to talk to them, basically, which made me gay. But yeah, anywho, I don't get to talk to them too much anymore. And that guy, there's 2 people, 1 person from each semester. The second guy, he got me into the anime visual novel club thing, and he also really got me into Girls and Panzer, which is something that I've been obsessed with ever since the beginning of this year, so for the past 3 months, basically. The anime is incredible, it's insane, and I've been getting more people. I really want more people to watch it. But this is not about Girls and Panzer. What else was I happy about? I guess my room. This is gonna be the last thing, but once I go back to it, to me, Indonesia is like this hellhole where nothing happy happens. And then there's the Netherlands, where a lot of great things have been happening, but I honestly have a lot of mental issues that I need to go through, which I guess I could get into the next question. But point is, right now, my room is not like my old room back in Indonesia. That one was bigger, and I have a lot of nostalgia to it, and it has all my toys, so that's cool. But over here in the Netherlands, the place that I rented out, I bought a TV for myself, and it's been my favorite thing of all time, and I, hook up my laptop to it and do a bunch of things that I would usually be doing in my room, but instead of just looking at my laptop screen, I'd be looking on my huge TV, which is just such a huge quality of life improvement, because I constantly use my laptop, and I really wanted the TV to, be able to use it while I'm in bed and stuff. Super comfortable, super nice, and I will definitely get one when I go back to Indonesia for sure. I hope I can convince my parents to make this change, basically. Yeah, that's basically it for the things that I'm happy about. I'm sure if I really dig deeper into myself, there's probably more, but let's not waste too much time, I guess. What am I sad about? For some reason, my first thought's like, nah, nothing, but let's not kid ourselves. I think the first thing that was on my mind immediately was my roommates, and really just the way that I've been talking and having a relationship with people. And the people closest to me right now is my roommates, and I used to talk with them a lot, especially when we started meeting and wanted to know about each other, but now we're just kind of in the phase where we know a lot about each other and talk about little daily boring stuff that usually just ends up in conversations where they don't go anywhere or don't mean too much. But it is small talk. But I haven't even been doing a lot of small talk with my roommates recently, and me and them, we used to do a lot of events and going outside and stuff like that, but that has also kind of waned. But again, I don't even talk to them normally daily life, but that doesn't mean that like we're in a bad relationship right now. I guess I can still talk to them and they wouldn't say shut up, you're annoying me, you're stupid or anything, but it's still more awkward. And that's just what that means is that like I just have a terrible way of maintaining relationships. I'm terrible at relationship maintenance, which to me is having common interests with people so that you can talk more and more about it in future times with that person. So the kind of common conversations that I have with one of my roommates is cooking stuff. But the thing is, we're just kind of cooking the same stuff every so often, so it's not really even worth having a conversation about. And besides that, we don't have any other common interests, so that's why we're not able to connect to each other very well. Like, he doesn't watch anime or whatever, and I don't follow any sports, so like, what do we talk about exactly? And at that moment in time, I guess I would rather just either stay quiet, which make things awkward, or be really inquisitive and talk about whatever their interests are, which is possible, but honestly, it's not enough for a reason to keep talking to them. It's only for like one conversation, basically. Yeah, so that's why things have been kind of quiet between me and my roommates. We used to be so talkative with each other. And besides that, I used to, but beyond just my roommates, I'm terrible at maintaining relationships with people at work and people that I even like, people that are my friends. It's because I cannot find any time to talk to them because I'm so busy in my own personal life and I want to do these projects and I want to consume media, and that takes so much time and effort. And I always prioritize that over talking to people. So that's why I leave people on read, and conversations are in the span of like days and weeks, and replies take days for me to get back to people. So that's why just like replying to someone is like, it's really hard for me. I used to be much better at it, and I used to think that I liked to talk to people, but sometimes if the conversation just isn't that important or interests me, then I naturally just kind of fade away into silence. And I really do enjoy people who keep tabs on me and keep annoying me to talk to them, because then it makes me feel like I have some kind of worth or purpose. Because they actually keep thinking about me and like, oh, I have this conversation topic I want to talk about with you, and I'm like, oh, that's cute that you want to talk to me. Thank you very much. I've been having a lot of self-worth issues that I'm not even worth being talked to sometimes, and that's why I make these projects, which force people to think about me, because they watch my video and be like, oh, this guy's kind of cool, and something like that. But I should, I guess, do that more with other people if I really find someone interesting. Because there are some people that I want to talk with back in my past, but I don't know if they want to talk with me, but it doesn't matter. As long as I throw that message out there and they are interested, then that's what's important. I should stop being so anxious about it. But I still am. Because I don't know, it's been too long and things are too awkward, I guess. But I do have some conversation topics I want to speak to other people with, and just because the people who have similar interests to me are pretty rare, so I should really keep tabs on them and actually talk to them. It's just I had like a high school friend that I haven't spoken to in 3-4 years, and it's like, do they really want, like, even during those high school times, I don't even know if he actually did want to talk to me. We were just the kind of people that are so similar to each other that we talk to each other out of desperation, out of there's no one else to talk to. But I feel like I did a lot of bad things to him, not getting into any details, and I don't know if they want to talk to me, point is. But he forced me to go down the rabbit hole of Pretty Cure and Kamen Rider and anime, nerdy otaku stuff, and he forced me into it. He was so into it that I had to get into it myself, and now I'm cursed. And it was the same with the guy from the last semester, Girls and Panzer. Now I'm cursed again, and I have this interest, but I can't talk about other people with, only them, because they are so niche. So that's a problem. So yeah, there's a couple of things. There's really only one thing that I am bad about right now, which is relationship maintenance in a single phrase. So I guess I need to fix that. And also, you know what? I'm trying to find a job. I hate that. I hate it. Takes 110% of your effort, and you need to be so naturally that kind of person that people want to be trustworthy and work with, but I am not that person whatsoever. You know, I jack off every nah, it is a problem though, because like I do nerdy otaku stuff. People usually don't do nerdy otaku stuff. They pretend to be doing a lot of cool, worky stuff to be trustworthy and reliable, but that's not me at all. In fact, I'm incredibly unreliable and unprofessional and what's the word? Not scummy. Clumsy, that's the one. I'm incredibly clumsy. And I get the feeling if the person who didn't accept me during that internship for the last semester to work on this semester, they are like a teacher kind of person. So if it was a real product owner, they'd probably scold me for being so stupid on a lot of mistakes that I did throughout the past 2 months, basically. But because they are a teacher type of person, they can forgo and forgive a lot of the mistakes that I've been doing, which I find very happy, and it's kind of like a good stepping stone between, you know, graduation and then entry-level job where you actually have responsibilities, I guess. But at the same time, I really expected myself, I have like a bit of a complex about this, like, oh, I thought I was so competent and I do such great work, but it turns out that I'm not even professional on like the most basic aspect. Because one example is that he called me to do a meeting. We prepared this meeting beforehand. We got to meet at 1 p.m. on Monday, and I did not appear on 1 p.m. on Monday. I overslept, and it's like, oh, embarrassing. I would get fired immediately. But yeah. Yeah, so relationship maintenance, I suppose, is the main thing. And trying to find a job are the two things that I'm most sad about. That's things that I can work on for the next year. And speaking of, what am I going to do next year? Well, my work plans, because I always divide this into work and art and play, is first find a job, I suppose. You know what? First, graduate this semester. It's not even guaranteed that I'm going to graduate just yet. So make sure that I do that. Make sure that I keep track of all the stakeholders, make them satisfied, give them value, and, you know, all the boring business terms. And while I'm doing that, also try to find a job. Now I have a call scheduled for this next Tuesday related to being a governance specialist, so I'm looking forward to that, but I really hope that I don't mess it up. And that's pretty much, I'm putting all the eggs in this basket because my backup plan is to get a visa for next year, which is for 1 whole year. I need to pay 500 euros, I'm sure. The jazz playlist ended. I'll just go back to the beginning. because they allow a visa for 1 extra year after we graduate to be able to find a job. And my maximum amount is probably like 200 applications. If I don't find a job within 200 applications, I'm going to quit and go back to Indonesia. At least I'll be living with my roommate probably, and this place, from what I can tell, does allow students to stay here until they find a job, I guess, or at least until they find another place to stay for graduates. So that's cool, but I still have to pay rent every single month, even if I'm not going to be here, because I'm going to go back to Indonesia for a holiday and stuff. Point is, that year of my life will not be me doing anything, which is fine actually, because I want to be doing a bunch of projects, but it'll just be such a long grovel of trying to find a job, doing an interview, getting rejected probably for 200 times, which is like so much. Anyways, I'm hoping that I'm able to impress this person, that they were able to scout me out and do some governance work or whatever. So yeah, find a job, finding a house as well as a backup, because, the backup is to stay in this place. Actually, that is the current plan. But the thing is, this place is cheaper than most places, and trying to find a new place to live is like so stupid, especially with the housing market right now. It's messed up. Like, there was a story that my roommate tried to find a place, and it was a new apartment, and it's like within the first few hours there was 1,000 response, and it's like, maybe we can put you onto the waiting list so that in the next year or so we can tell you when there's a new place. And it's like, the housing market is so fucked up. 1,000 people in the first hour or something. How am I supposed to compete with that? Okay, so stupid, but yeah, at least I'll stay in this place. I'll tell my parents about it, and I'll have to ask the housing agency if that's even allowed. But yeah, so graduate, find a job, find a house. Those are the work stuff. Now, the actual interesting art stuff, I have a million billion ideas I want to get through every few days, at least twice a week maybe. Or once a week, I don't know. Inspiration hits, basically. And I always want to put those ideas down and want to make that thing as fast as possible. But that never happens. Even writing the outline is too painful, because I have a lot of things I have to do backlogged and media to consume or whatever. I already have a to-do list at the beginning of the day. Getting hit with inspiration is not one of the things on the to-do list, but I always at least keep a note of what the main core of the idea is onto my phone, and that list has been building up for the past, whenever I started it, long time ago, multiple years, and it's got like 1,000, that's a hyperbole, at least a few hundred ideas onto that list. So getting onto them, writing a full-on story with it would be great to do one day. And the thing is, I've built up so many of those ideas that I can basically never worry about running out of ideas, ever. Obviously I need to filter out which one are the good ideas and which one are the bad ones, but I'm sure a lot of them are pretty good ideas. So as long as I turn those ideas into reality, I will have a backlog at the end of my life to fulfill one of my major goals in life, which is to be remembered, basically. Have an impact on the world. As long as I make the things that I had an idea for, and that would be a successful idea to some extent, and it would get released and people would remember me for it, I would have achieved a major goal in my life. And I've already been doing that by making a couple of projects, a couple of comics and animations, and long YouTube video essays. So yeah, that's like the very first step. So what exactly, let's make myself a promise. What am I actually going to be doing for next year? So for my comics on my DeviantArt, what I said at the beginning of the year, which I don't think is even going to be possible anymore, is to make a Girls and Panzer fanfic comic for one, because I was so in love with the movie and the film and the series that I just had to share the fun that I had from that film onto other people, and hopefully people who are fans of Girls and Panzer would enjoy my work, and people who are new to it would get into it, I hope at least. But I don't think I'm that good of a writer. Besides that, I want to make a continuation of the comic that I just finished, but I'm not too interested in doing that anymore, really. The time has passed for me to be inspired by it anymore, for me to it be fulfilling, even though it does have a lot of key motivations and character backstory that the original didn't have, that this new thing that I will make have. So it's kind of in between that of making it or not making it, basically. I'll probably make it, honestly. And there's also a completely new original series that I want to make that will be more in line with what my audience actually wants instead of just what I want to make and releasing it. Which is a shame, but yeah, I want to, like... The thing is, as an artist, you get inspired by things and you always want to be making new things, but people want the same thing out of you all the time. And that's an issue, I guess. Because when I first started making it, no one asked me to make this thing, but people did become fans of it. And now I want to keep making new things, but people that were fans of my old thing won't be fans of my new thing. So that's an issue. For my YouTube videos, I want to make... I've recently got into Narcissu and made a whole script out of it, and I realized this could be a really special thing, so I want to make a video on Narcissu. I was kind of against making a video on that visual novel in particular because it was so short and already so popular, but then I realized that doesn't matter whatsoever. I wanted to focus on visual novels that no one has ever heard of, classics that no one talks about, or I don't see anyone talking about, that I want to talk about. But I've realized that as long as I have like a really original idea and script to go with a certain visual novel, that's all that matters. Especially because no one has really made a long video on Narcissu yet, or their emotions about it, and I want to do that, so that's what I'm going to do. Even though, I mean, it's already kind of it's already popular. People are already going to click on it anyways. Making a video on something popular isn't unoriginal. It's just people are going to watch it now. It's like, I want that to happen. So yeah, Narcissu is one. School Days is another one. And I have like a point that I want to make with Narcissu and School Days and stuff. And I also want to revisit a lot of my old videos that I just want to make better and make the point more poignant. Like Totono is one, and Love could be another. But I really want to talk about Fata Morgana, the house in Fata Morgana, so that would be cool. So a lot of things to do, basically. And I had something to say, but I forgot about it. That's an issue with me. I always go on some like ramblings, and whenever I talk about something appears in my head, but I quickly forget about it to make my conversation more coherent. In any case, that's pretty much it for my blessing time for this year. I think right after this I'll pray and read the alquran to actually get those pahala points or whatever, good deed points in Islam. And I always say that I want to, read the alquran during blessing time because that's the appropriate thing to do. So yeah. Man, the name Blessing Time is also so stupid. It's just based off of one of Aqua's spells in Konosuba, but it's perfectly fitting and cringy for a person like me, I guess. Anyways, yeah, that answered all my questions. What I'm gonna do next year is, make more comics, the ones that I just mentioned, and make a couple of videos. I really hope that I actually get to do one of them. Make a comic and make a video. That's literally it for the next few months. And also continue learning Japanese. That's something that I guess I'm happy about. That I guess I could have talked more about me learning Japanese, but I'll keep that as a separate video just to not make this one too long. I plan to go there in 2027 with my friend. yeah, that's it. Let's actually end this. Thank you for listening. If you made it this far, I hope I was an entertaining host somewhat. And, I just can't stop talking to myself, or about myself. Yeah, that's it. You know what? Visual novels forever. My visual novels. Visual novels forever. And thank you for listening. Goodbye.